Awesome. All right, I know we had a question back over here. Here we go. They're starting to come on now. How you guys doing? What's that? We got to compete with the music, apparently.
I heard with certain reliable source that you're working on I heard with certain reliable source that you're working on a fantasy musical project.
I'm working on a fantasy musical project? I don't know. Sure.
Captain Mercer, perhaps?
What?
Captain Mercer, does that ring a bell?
Who? I can't hear. I'm doing a cameo on something for him. I didn't know that was a musical. He didn't tell me that was a musical. If I'm singing, I can semi-carry a tune. I play a little guitar, so you know, but it's usually in the privacy of my own home. I did do once. I got up in front of 5,000 Germans in Bonn, Germany, at a convention called FedCon. And on the big screen behind us, I put the lyrics up with a little bouncing ball over each word so they could sing along in case they didn't speak English. And I did Jimmy Buffett's "Why Don't We Get Drunk and Screw." I did. It's true. It was fun. It was fun. They got into it. It was funny to hear 5,000 German accents doing "Why Don't We Get Drunk and Screw" those. Yes, question right here in front. What's the most exotic location I've filmed at? Well, New Zealand. I mean, Hercules was in New Zealand. It was beautiful there. I mean, when I think of it, I mean, I lived there for 7 years. I mean, so it became sort of the second home to me. I would actually retire there. If none of you have ever been to New Zealand, do yourself a favor and go. The people are wonderful. The country's about the size of California, but it's got 4 million people, not 40 million. So, actually, everybody's leaving California now. It's returning into a Greece. But you know, I shot Call the Conqueror in Bratislava, Slovakia, which was very an interesting place to be at the time. And Croatia, which is beautiful. I mean, it's unfortunate with all the war-torn things that happen in the country. Croatia is just on the Adriatic there. It's just spectacular. It's a beautiful place. And you know, I'm kind of tall. I'm about 6'4", and I get there, and all the people are like 6'9". And I said, when we shoot all these extras, people are going to think, well, he is short. He's just like every actor in LA is short. And then I had to think about it a while. I'm a big sports fan. If you guys watch sports at all, certainly Olympics, Croatia, Serbia, all these places, they're like the top 4 or 5 basketball teams in the world after the US and stuff. They put out really big, you know, there's a lot of them playing the NBA, but I was like blown away. I was like, wow, big tall people. Anyway, yes, way back there in the...
Would you ever bring Captain Dylan Hunt back in an Andromeda movie?
Would I ever bring Captain Dylan Hunt back in an Andromeda movie? I would love to. I'm going to tell you the story of what happened in Andromeda. Andromeda was doing very well. We'd finished 5 seasons. We were supposed to have 2 more seasons on schedule. We were owned by the Tribune Company out of Chicago, which owns the LA Times, owns the Chicago Tribune. They own the Cubs. So they were losing a lot of money in other places. And there was rumors of also embezzlement going on within the department there, and they went bankrupt. So we got canceled, Beastmaster got canceled, and the other show they had was Mutant X, that got canceled. So yeah, it was unfortunate because it was, I wanted to do 2 more years in the show. I loved doing the series, I was a big Star Trek fan. And for those who don't know, Andromeda was actually the first series that Gene Roddenberry created after Star Trek. He wrote it in 1969. So Captain Dylan Hunt really was the first captain ever created after Captain James T. Kirk. And I tell Kirk that all the time. So. But they did a pilot. They did a pilot back in 1970 with John Saxon. And at the time, the studios thought that Star Trek was a failure. So they didn't pick it up. They didn't realize what they had with the original series until much later, obviously. But yeah, they brought it to me 30 years later, and like I said, I was a big fan of it. So Majel Roddenberry is the one who called me. I was in New Zealand. They gave her my number. She called me up, and I said, "Come on, this isn't Majel Roddenberry." And it's because she had those turbo boobs on Star Trek. I remember, you know. She did, didn't she? You could just put your tray right on top of those things. But we had a good time. No, look, I met some of these conventions. I get to meet some really cool people. It's fun for me too. It's like, you know, everybody thinks all of us actors know all the actors, and that's not true. So I get to meet a lot of people. Like I did one. I remember about 6-7 years ago. Larry Hagman and Barbara Eden were there from Dream of Jeannie. So I was signed next to Barbara Eden the whole time, and I finally, by the second day, I said, I gotta tell her. And I said, you know, I was a little kid, but I knew watching Dream of Jeannie that I would never have any problem with my sexual preference. There was gonna be no issue for me. Because let's face it, she was a babe. So, all right, any other questions? I know we got more questions. Yes?
Are they ever going to release the first Pool Boy?
Are they going to release Pool Boy?
First one.
I did a movie called Pool Boy, Drowning Out the Fury. And it's politically incorrect, which I loved. It was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. If you like Naked Gun and all that, I was hoping to have them here in the DVDs. They're going to be coming to me too late, unfortunately. And I know it's out in the DVD stores now. It got released theatrically in Europe. And the reason they didn't release it theatrically here, the biggest reason, was a big problem going on right now in our country is piracy. And before the movie was even being shopped around for distribution, it got out, and 400,000 copies were made of the movie. And so that, you know, the piracy issue is a big issue, and it certainly kills independent films like that. And there's small indies movies that are all under $3 million just get killed. So it kind of sucks in that way, but it was a fun movie to do. I play a very interesting character. I play a Vietnam vet that comes back to America to find out that all the pool cleaning jobs have been taken over by illegal aliens. And I used to clean pools, and I figured that's the only talent I have. So it's my job to get them all the hell out of Southern California. So it was a very interesting, funny, ridiculous type of airplane Naked Gun type of movie. So if you don't have a sense of humor, please do not watch it. That's all I can say. Yes, way back there. Why do we have this music on? Who's playing? Stop playing music. Crying out loud, Hercules is talking, for Christ's sake. Did anybody see Meet the Spartans?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We ad-libbed that line where I said, I'm gonna go Hercules on your ass. So the directors kept it in, which was very nice of them to do. Yes, where are we? Yes. Do I have an Aunt Bonnie with MS? No. She's referring to, I just did a guest spot on Don't Talk to the Bitch in Apartment 23. So, people have asked me that. That was a big question on Facebook and Twitter to me. I have a cousin, Bonnie, but the woman they use is actually one of the producers of the show. She was very embarrassed. She didn't want her picture being on the button, but no, that was Hollywood. That was all Hollywood. Oh, it's a wrestling going on. A wrestling match over there. Maybe I'll go over there later and kick their ass. I'm half God. From the waist down. Anyway. Yes. He wants to know about when I got into acting, did I get into the, you know, since Hercules 7 years, Captain Dylan Hunt 5 years, did I get into it to be an action hero? You know, not necessarily. I mean, I got into it, I loved acting. I knew since I was 11 I wanted to be an actor. I told my mom that when I was 11. She would give me one of those nice mom replies, "That's nice, dear." It's true. But I knew what I wanted to do, and when I moved to LA, you know, I had every door in the world slammed on my face. I mean, that's Hollywood. I mean, it's just, people think you can walk out there. It's really not that easy. There's got to be, I think there's 400,000 actors that have their SAG card, and at any given time, 97% are unemployed. So we beat the national average by quite a bit right now. And it's that way all the time. I mean, it's tough to get a job. It just is. I've been very fortunate, but I mean, you know, I'm a 13-year overnight success. So, I mean, I pounded the pavement, paid my dues, and I worked every job you can possibly think of. I know about Kraft macaroni and cheese and tuna just like anybody else, you know, and clipping coupons. I've been there, guys. I've done all that stuff. And I worked a lot of different jobs, and it's just, you know, but I kept with it. I had a dream, I had a goal, and I honestly believe that you can do whatever you want to do, you know. But when Hercules came along, I initially balked at it, because I thought, I'm a big guy, but I'm not. I thought they're going to go for Arnold or Lou Ferrigno. They wanted a big 280-pound, steroid. No, nothing going on there. Type of guy, but they were looking for an NFL quarterback size guy. I mean, look where we shot it. We shot it in New Zealand. It wasn't shot in Greece. It wasn't shot in Spain or whatever they shoot most of these type of movies. So they wanted a whole different look and a whole different feel. And being Sam Raimi, of course, they wanted to have that sort of ridiculous humor in there, which I loved. And to have Bruce Campbell become one of my best friends through those years was awesome. And Bruce and I keep in touch all the time. They've been trying to get me on Burn Notice for about 3 years now. I know, but every time they come up with a part for me, I'm shooting a movie. So it hasn't worked out, but I want to do it. And Jeffrey Donovan and I actually just played in a charity golf event up in South Carolina just 2 weeks ago. So hopefully that'll happen. But you know, it was neat that it happened. I enjoyed it. I mean, I read mythology all through junior high. And obviously Hercules was my hero, cool, you know. And to be able to play that part was kind of fun. It was just amazing. Anyway, way back there. Oh boy, you have to pass that along.
Are you planning on doing a Hercules reunion?
All at the same time. One.
Are you planning on doing a Hercules reunion?
A Hercules reunion. I would love to do that. The closest I came to a Hercules reunion, I went down to New Zealand about 3 years ago. And I did a show down there, because most of the actors were from New Zealand. So we did like Christchurch, which got really nailed by this earthquake last year, and Wellington and Auckland. So that's the closest we've come to. The trouble with that is, you know, most of the actors live in New Zealand. To get them up here is very costly. So I would love to do it. I always thought it was kind of weird that Universal Studios never did a feature film. I mean, when Hercules, they wanted to go 3 more years on us. So don't boo me. After 7 years of the schedule I had in, it was pretty much like 100-hour weeks. It was 14 hours a day on set, 2 hours a day lifting heavy. I loved it, had a great time. But when Andromeda came along, it was like it was too good an offer to refuse. But I was still shocked that Universal never did a Xena movie. Xena was our 3rd-year spin-off, and we just figured with the success of those shows, why not do a feature film with it, you know? But now we're too old. Michael Hurst and I make jokes about that. We could be sitting in rocker chairs with big beer bellies, and people run up for help, and we just kind of talk. Remember that time we fought the Hydra or whatever? Just make up our own shit. Oops, sorry. Make our own stuff. I could say shoot, but George Carlin says shoot a shit with 2 O's, so you can't get away with that. Another question? Way over there. Yes, sir.
And my question is, would you think that Hercules could kick Conan the Barbarian's butt?
Well, of course Hercules could kick his ass. Conan's mortal. Hercules has got a strength of a lot. He's got a strength of about 100 of those guys. So, you know, the guy who played him, Jason probably kicked my ass. but you know, let's be realistic about the mythology of Hercules. But yeah, I get asked that all the time. So I think Superman would give me a good battle. Superman would be pretty good. But I'd put on some kryptonite leather pants or something. Yes? How did I bulk up for Hercules? Well, I played football in college, so I weighed 235 in college. I'm 215 now, but I always worked out, I always played sports. So when I got the part, I had a couple months before we started, and I trained with this guy. They set me up with a couple different trainers. Douglas Wong was one of Bruce Lee's original students. So I had 8 hours a day just with that guy, learning about weaponry and falling and fighting and all different kinds of stuff. And then I just had a trainer down in New Zealand. This guy was an amazing trainer. Steve Rosenbaum, American guy that married a Kiwi girl at his own gym, and he punished me 2 hours a day after 14 hours on the set. So, but I like working out, so to me it's a drug, you know. I still do. I still work. I worked out this morning, but it's just something I do for myself. But you know, I had a good diet too, heavy protein, you know, and I was fanatical about it because I loved doing the show. I enjoyed it. Yes, right here. One of my favorite memories are episodes from Hercules. I had a lot of good memories. New Zealand was wonderful to me, but I'm gonna name two things. There were two things that one was the first episode I ever directed, called The Apple, which I loved. The other one is the first episode Michael Hurst ever directed, called Fancy Free, where he was the widow Twinkie. And that was based on his mother, and it was a character he did on stage, and we saw him do it in the theater, and we looked at each other. I was with our producers. We looked at each other and said, "We got to do this. We got to use his character." And it was so weird taking direction from Michael with these fake tits and this white wig and makeup on, and he'd come in and talk like Michael and try to get me into the scene, and I would just crack up. They took stills of me just losing it with him trying to, and we ad-libbed a lot in that one too, because of it was just sort of set up for itself. There's a scene in there where it's a ballroom dancing scene, where I got these huge fights in at the end while I'm dancing, and I was like the only one. I mean, Lucy Lawless got about 400 outfits during the years. I had the same outfit in every single thing. And so, in the episode, he looks at me as Widow Twinkie and says, "We've got to change that outfit." And she goes, "Yeah, but this is all I ever wear." And she goes, and he says, "I know, and I'm sick of it." And then they kept it in. So there weren't a lot of one-liners in it, you guys. You'd be surprised that it just happened on the day on the set. So, where we were, way back there. Where you got?